Some of the most important things about the market update for the Kansas City metro area, when we look at the area as a whole, so I've broken down different segments like Jackson and Johnson County. I've posted those on our Facebook, our YouTube, and our website and our blog. So you can look at those if you want to drill down on the counties because they're very different. And we're noticing that there's big differences there that people are not necessarily taking into account. But when you look at the market overall, there's a couple things that I see in my conversations and in the numbers that I want to share with you here. The average price across the metro is up 7.4% to $388,000. And homes are taking a little bit longer to sell at 41 days on the market, which is up 17% from last year. But I find that people take little segments and little talking points like this, and they have to determine, is the market good or is the market bad? It's become very nuanced depending on where you are, what price point you're in, what neighborhood you're in, what floor plan you have. There was a time when all those boats were rising and anything you were selling was probably selling for more than you were expecting it to sell. That's obviously changed. The supply is still tight at 2.7 months supply of inventory, which is still widely considered a seller's market, but we've got different segments, as in the luxury market in Johnson County, as an example, that we're showing a lot of signs of weakening in, and especially also in Jackson County, over 750, let's say, which is a lower price point than we see in Johnson County, that it's starting to suffer, meaning that there's more homes on the market than the ones that are actually trading. We're also seeing that the sellers are negotiating a little bit more. The numbers show that the average list to sell price ratio is at 97% of the original list price, which is down from last year, which was trending closer to 100. But the sales are steady at 3,546 sales in the market that we studied here in the Kansas City metro in August, which is up slightly at 1.1%. So overall, what I would say is the market, compared to what I hear people saying about the market, is better than people think in terms of selling a home. And it's really interesting to see how people take these numbers and turn it into a summary of whether or not something's good or something's bad. And it's not that simple. But if you look at it overall, especially when I compare it to markets like Denver, Seattle, Florida, which is a real highlighted example, or even the East Coast, we have a very stable market and a very good place to be if you're buying or selling. So if you're a buyer that's thinking, I'm waiting for prices to come down, we don't really experience a big drop in value like Florida, that's seen some areas where 20% decrease in values. And we have no indications that anything like that's going to happen here. So yeah, the luxury market has softened a little bit. Over 500,000 are moving a little bit slower. But what does that mean? That means you should expect that you could negotiate a little bit, that you could buy a home maybe for 96% of list price. If you're a seller, you may want to think more conscientiously about the pricing before you put it on the market. This is what I would consider a very balanced market, meaning that the fluctuations are not vast. We're not seeing 10% decreases. We're seeing year-over-year increase in value, which is signs of a really stable market. So if I'm a buyer, I'm thinking this is a really solid place to invest. If I'm a seller and I need to make a move, I'm thinking there is a really good place for me to sell my home within a reasonable time frame. The average days on market being 41 days on the market. That's blending everything together, including a home that might be $4 million that's on the market for 190 days, and then a $200,000 home that's lasting for 1 day. Right? So sellers can still win, but with accurate pricing and strong marketing, which we're going to reinforce more and more. And that's actually what really is highlighted more than anything as I talk to my sales team, is that now is a really perfect time to be a professional agent with a good marketing strategy, because you can see a very big difference in the marketplace. Because if a home hits the market, it's marketed properly, it's staged right, there is an absolute good opportunity that you can receive a great offer on your home. But because of some of the vacillation in the marketplace. If you see a home that's on the market for 38 days, all of a sudden that means something very different. Now it matters how your agent handles negotiations, how they handle the marketing, how they handle communication. So when you look at the market overall, it's a very safe place to be if you're buying or selling. And with the recent drop in interest rates, which wasn't incredible, but it's probably not going to be incredible, it's an even better sign that you can invest in the Kansas City market and that you're going to be safe, especially if you plan to live somewhere for 7 to 10 years. So as you look through the market report, you should recognize that this is a look at the entire marketplace, which we provide every single month, and that there is going to be nuance to your area. And if you have specific questions on your address or your neighborhood, if you just want to be set up on a market report that will show the individual homes that are selling in your area, we're happy to send those to you free of charge. And we're also happy to do a market analysis on your property and tell you exactly what it's worth, whether you're planning on selling right now or not. Thank you.